Pull up a chair, my friends, because we are talking neighborhoods and we are going deep. I do a lot of videos talking about specific neighborhoods or maybe a group of neighborhoods, but this is going to be just the lay of the land for all Denver neighborhoods. This is my thoughts, my magnum opus for Denver neighborhoods, what they are, what they can do for you, which ones may align with your interests and which ones may not. I did this video a year and change ago, but I wanted to update it. That one honestly kind of sucked, and I think I've gotten better with the operation since then, so I wanted to update the video for that reason, but also just to update it with the times. Things change, and my thoughts on things change, and so I'm going to give you my most up-to-date thoughts on all these Denver neighborhoods now. If you are someone who's considering moving to town, or maybe you just moved to town and you're really trying to just get your sea legs as far as where to go in Denver, what all these neighborhoods are, what they have to offer, this video will be for you. If you're new here, Sam Newman, Denver real estate agent, would love to explore the possibility of working with you. Please do reach out. It's my favorite thing when people reach out from the YouTube channel. And we're just talking City of Denver neighborhoods in this video. We're not talking suburbs because it's the thing that interests me the most. And honestly, it's become, if I may, one of my biggest areas of expertise in real estate. These are purely my opinions. You may disagree. Hopefully you do disagree with some of them. That's what makes things fun, but this is just a collection of thoughts. We got Apple Maps pulled up here. I'm going to try this. I usually do Google Maps, which I like how Google Maps works, but there's all this crap that pops up all the time. So this is a nice, clean interface here. I like it. Let's see how it goes. Okay, you're seeing the city of Denver, and it's basically divided east-west with I-25. Okay, and so Denver, we'll go with the actual boundaries here, but essentially, you got the western side of Denver here that basically goes all the way out to Edgewater and down Sheridan Boulevard here, and butts up against Lakewood and Inglewood. And then it comes, you have the south and then the east side of Denver, which is kind of this whole area in here. So it's this one big thing. It does go all the way out technically to Green Valley Ranch, thanks to some real impressive gerrymandering. We're not really going to talk about that. Green Valley Ranch technically does have a Denver address. It lives, feels, and acts much more like a suburb in reality. Even the airport is a Denver address. Even the airport. They had to make that in Denver, even though it's way out in the plains. But I digress. What I want to do is start kind of in central Denver here and then work our way around. We'll work our way clockwise, let's say. Work our way sort of southeast, east, and then around the west side and back up. All right? All right. Okay, so if we zoom in to downtown, we're just going to start downtown. I'm going to talk about what downtown Denver is all about. There's been a lot said and written and recorded about downtown Denver recently. Let's get to it. So here in 2024, still some of the lingering effects of COVID. It's not everyone's favorite part of town right now. 16th Street Mall, I have said on this channel before, has sucked for a long time. There are redeeming parts of it, but the negatives outweigh the positives. If you visit Denver, by the way, pulling it up here, see this little stretch right here? This is 16th, right here. Let's go 3D. Oh, look at that, the buildings, whatever. Okay, this is 16th Street Mall right here. It's the pedestrian mall that cuts through basically downtown. It's a cool idea being a pedestrian mall. I like these types of things. 16th Street, it's just chain restaurants, and they are doing a renovation, a revitalization project, part of Mayor Mike Johnson's bigger idea for revitalizing downtown altogether, which I think is great and I fully support. But I say all that, I kind of started with the negative. I don't hate downtown. I'm downtown a lot. It's totally fine. It doesn't seem overly dangerous or anything like that. A lot of people will have a lot of complaints about many downtown areas. Denver is one of them. It used to be a little bit better. It has hit a bit of a rough patch. It's still not awful. Go enjoy dinner there, enjoy happy hour, go to Union Station. Union Station's great, by the way. Union Station is one of the greatest places to hang out. You can take the train straight from the airport to downtown Union Station, and I recommend it. If you're coming into town, grab a hotel downtown or something. It's not the worst thing to do. Even if you're not staying downtown, take the train to Union Station. Kick around down here for a little bit, have lunch or something, and then go to wherever you're going. It's basically, there's the central business district, there's Lodo, lower downtown, there is all the way up to the ballpark neighborhood up here, which isn't really on, the name doesn't show up on the map, but you see Coors Field, it's right there. Coors Field, great place to watch a ball game. And then sort of on this southwest side is the Auraria campus. There's CU Denver there is Metro State University also there, and college stuff going on the Auraria campus. And then there's also Ball Arena. That's where the Nuggets play. That's where the Avs play. That's a great place to watch a game too. So downtown actually has a lot of going for it. I don't don't recommend living downtown to most people. Right now, it actually is a great opportunity, ton of opportunity if you want to buy downtown right now. There's a lot of inventory, but it's a specific type of thing. If you have a family, you're probably not looking downtown. It's mostly going to be rentals or condos. Some sweet condos, but condos nonetheless. Not as much space. Okay, I said I was going to go east and clockwise, and I'm going to, but I want to go basically just northwest from downtown, right across I-25. This gets us into the Highland neighborhood, okay? Highland. We'll pull this up, see if that does anything. No, it doesn't really do anything for us. Highland, great neighborhood, okay? And it's one that I help a lot of clients buy in. It's one that I talk about a lot. It's broken up into a few kind of subsets. So you basically have low-high right here. Low-high, very walkable. Some of the best dining, bars, and restaurants in the city. Very young, very vibrant. It is downtown-y without the downtown challenges so much. It's not cheap to live there. Home prices are expensive because you're paying a premium to be close to things, to be walkable. And that's true of the entire Highlands neighborhood. Whoops, I accidentally dropped a pin. Don't know how to remove that. The neighborhood is bordered by 38th Avenue up here and then sort of Spear Boulevard to the south. Okay, so you have low-high, and then you also have the Potter Historic Highlands District, which is more residential, still very walkable, but less like sleek new build duplex for $1 million or a little bit more, and more houses for $1 million or a little bit more. And then you also have West Highlands over here across Federal Boulevard. So we'll come back, but Highlands is one of my favorite neighborhoods. You do pay for it, but it's great for younger folks who are looking for something walkable, even small families or families who like to live that urban lifestyle. There are many of them who live in the Highlands. If we zoom in to this low-high area, low-high steak bar, rest in peace. That was great, but it's closed. Williams and Graham, that was an episode of The Dispatch. Great speakeasy. Talk your ear off about that one. Postino's a great place to get wine or happy hour, whatever. Low-high, there's just a ton going on. Okay, we'll come back to that area. But from downtown to the northeast, okay, along the river is the River North area, Rhino, it's called. It goes into 5 Points. There's some discrepancy about whether it's called Rhino or 5 Points. Historically, it's been called 5 Points. And then there was the River North Arts District, which became the Rhino neighborhood. Rhino, 5 Points, kind of all one big amalgamation. One of the hipper neighborhoods in Denver, okay, so this is going to be, again, mostly condos, not a lot of single-family homes. A lot going on here on Larimer Street and Walnut Street. You're seeing all these businesses pop up. There's some like industrial loft style condos. Great place to go and have dinner. I don't know too many people who live there. If you really want to live that urban hip life, Rhino might be an option. From there, we go east, okay? What if we turn off 3D and go back to 2D? Okay, this can help here. So we basically we go east, we have a few neighborhoods that are surrounding City Park. City Park, one of the best parks, if not the best park. I'd say the best park, actually, in the city. You have a golf course. There's the Denver Zoo is there. There's just a lot of good place there's a lake, which I think is fake, but it's still great. A lot of good place to hang out, go for a jog. They have jazz in the park in the summer. You go bring a blanket, listen to some music, take in the sights. It's really got something for everybody. It's huge. It's a very big park. The neighborhood north of that, Skyland, a lot of people call it the City Park neighborhood. It's not. It's technically Skyland, but very residential. Great access to City Park itself. There's a City Park West neighborhood that runs into Uptown. Uptown doesn't get talked about a lot, but Uptown is a great sort of bridge between downtown and then like some of these neighborhoods in City Park and east of City Park. Uptown's still very vibrant, still very young, but slightly more livable than, say, a downtown or a Rhino. If we come east of City Park, we get into Park Hill. So it's broken up into South Park Hill, North Park Hill, and then all the way up to Northeast Park Hill. Basically, one of my favorite neighborhoods in Denver. A lot of history there, a lot of beautiful old houses, kind of something for everybody because the farther south you get, the bigger the houses are typically and the more expensive. Historically, North Park Hill, smaller homes, a little more affordable, still more affordable, but it's becoming more, there are more pop tops and renovations happening in North Park Hill. And so it is becoming more like South Park Hill in the good way, I would say. The schools in Park Hill are very well regarded. It's a great Denver neighborhood. It's a great place where you don't feel like you're being smothered in a city. There's a lot to do. Parts of it are very, very walkable, but you're not out in the suburbs, right? It's still tree-lined streets. I did a Park Hill neighborhood tour. You can check it out on this channel too. Lived in North Park Hill for many years. Love it. If we go east of that, we're getting into Central Park. Central Park is huge, okay? So it's this main Central Park neighborhood. Then you go up basically north of 70. There's the Northfield part. All the way north of that, there's the Beeler Park part up by Dick's Sporting Goods Park. It's right by Commerce City up here. Dick's Sporting Goods Park is a soccer stadium. That's where the Rapids play, and also Fish every year has a big show there. So if you're into that type of thing. But anyway, the point is, Central Park, huge, big neighborhood, goes all the way over to Eastbridge. I don't know if they have that listed here. They don't. But Eastbridge is a sort of the easternmost part of Central Park. So really big neighborhood, Central Park. Very green acres. Park Hill, it feels very old city, old mature trees, some blocks with some character. Central Park has some areas of character too. It's where the old Denver Airport used to be. So the neighborhood itself is much newer. It's 90s. It was called Stapleton for a long time. They changed that to Central Park. And so it's much more green acres. It's much more newer homes, not super new, a lot of them, but newer homes, smaller yards, feels very safe, a bit more bland than some Denver neighborhoods. But if you want more low maintenance living, Central Park's a good option. It's also very close to the airport. If you're someone that travels a lot, you need to get to the airport, Central Park's super close. You can just pop on 70, right up Pena and you're there. Okay, south of that, we're getting into Aurora. So we're coming back into Denver here. So this right here is the meat. This is central Denver, okay? So we have Washington Park, which we call Wash Park. There's the Country Club, Cherry Creek neighborhood, Congress Park, Cap Hill. I'm not going to talk about all of them, but I'm going to give you the general ideas here. So Capitol Hill, which we call Cap Hill. We like to shorten everything like they do in most places. So Cap Hill, it's a good Denver neighborhood, much more affordable than a lot of these. It's not a lot of single family homes. It's a lot of condos, attached properties, stuff like that. If you're looking for your first property and you want to live an urban lifestyle, don't want to pay Highlands prices, Cap Hill could be a good option. Plenty to do there. It's close to everything, very close to downtown without being in downtown. Has a little gritty to it. Parking there sucks. That's the one caveat. If you live there, you probably want to have a parking space. To the east of that is Cheeseman Park. Cheeseman Park, the park itself, also very good. Put it right below City Park, right up there with CP. The Botanic Gardens are there. Cheeseman Park, similar to Cap Hill. The demographic might be just a few years older. It's a little more removed from downtown, so just a touch quieter than Cap Hill, but a lot of similarities there. To the east of that is Congress Park, okay? Congress Park is a slightly more expensive, slightly smaller Park Hill. A lot of the same things, home styles, a lot of old brick bungalows, very beautiful homes, 100 years old. Many of them have been renovated. It's walkable, it's very residential, but it's close to a lot, and it borders Cherry Creek, which has something to do with Congress Park's prices because Cherry Creek is, let's say, the most affluent neighborhood in the city of Denver. I've talked about it plenty on this channel. It's a great neighborhood, but you pay for it, okay? The best shopping and dining district in Denver, all things considered. Yes, there's a mall, but this Cherry Creek North area, let's go 3D. Yeah, look at that, pretend buildings. This Cherry Creek North area, it doesn't look like a ton on the map, but there's blocks and blocks to shop and get happy hour. And I mentioned Blue Island Oyster Bar, and that's in Cherry Creek. And there's a great burger place called the Cherry Cricket, which is a dose of reality. Cherry Cricket here and Milwaukee Street Tavern here are two like normal bars inside this sea of like craziness that Cherry Creek is. But craziness in a good way. It's good. The people there look different. They dress different. Very desirable neighborhood, very clean. And then the residential part, you have Cherry Creek North, and then the east side of it, there are some condos. There's a lot of duplexes and townhomes. Then there's some single families too. The thing you sacrifice in Cherry Creek is yard. There are not a lot of big yards. There are some houses without any yard altogether. If you're looking at a house in Cherry Creek, you're paying $2-3 million. If you're looking at a different sort of property, you're paying probably around $1 million, maybe just under if it's a condo. But very walkable, very, very upscale. It's a nice neighborhood. Listen, I come from humble roots. I'm a Midwesterner, and it doesn't feel too bougie for me. I think it's because it's still Denver, but it doesn't feel like inaccessible. I spend a lot of time there, and I really enjoy it. Across Colorado Boulevard from Cherry Creek is Hilltop, and Hilltop is another very affluent, well thought of neighborhood. Bigger lots, more space, big stately homes. Not a lot going on in the way of businesses and things to do other than walk and go to the many parks that are in the area. East of that is Lowry. That's the old Air Force Base. Lowry is very big too. Newer than Hilltop, more accessible in terms of home prices. A nice balance Lowry is between Central Park and like a Congress Park or a Hilltop. Like newer and is a little more green acres, if You know what I'm saying? But it does have some character too, and there's a bunch of different little pockets of it. Many of them have a lot of character. So that's Lowry. Okay, so if we zoom out, we see where we're at. So Cherry Creek is here. Lowry's right here. Glendale, you see in the middle? Glendale's actually its own city. It acts much more like a neighborhood, but it's technically its own city. So I don't need to talk about it. It's fine. It's fine. It's not my favorite place. It's fine. A lot of times you get charged Cherry Creek prices to be in Glendale, and it ain't Cherry Creek. Washington, Virginia Vale, and Virginia Village are much lower priced neighborhoods that you can still get close to a lot of these amenities we're talking about and get in without the price tag. If you have $600,000-$700,000 for a house, that is in play here. They don't quite have the charm, but it's not bad. So worth looking at. The rest of those, okay, so just south of the Cherry Creek area are Washington Park and Belcaro and Corey Merrill. 3 more very high dollar neighborhoods. Washington Park we call Wash Park, again with the abbreviation. You've probably heard of it. Many people love it. I tend to think it's slightly overrated just in how much the prices have inflated. The park itself is great. The neighborhood is great. It feels nice, but with still a little bit of character. A lot of character, actually. It has a lot of character. Over here, Belcaro, Bonnie Bray, Corey Merrill, same sorts of things there. Belcaro, there's some more estates. It has more of a gated feel. If you're looking for that, we can talk about it. For the rest of us, let's move on. Okay, so south of those, we're going south of I-25. All right, we're getting to Platt Park, which is one of Denver's premier neighborhoods. Platt Park I love. Again, the prices, you're not getting any breaks, but it's much less expensive overall than a Wash Park. And I'd put it right there in terms of desirability, personally. It's got this old South Pearl district, which has got a ton going on. Shopping and dining, and then it's also close to South Broadway, which South Broadway gets a little more on the seedy side, not so much up here. But the great part about Platt Park is you're close to all those businesses on South Broadway, breweries, pizza places, all this other stuff, and you're not in it. You're just next to it. South of that, we have the Rosedale neighborhood, which I've talked about kind of ad nauseum too. I believe it's the most underrated neighborhood in Denver right now. You get a lot of the Platt Park amenities. You see this huge park, lots of green space without having to pay the prices. You're saving $100,000, $200,000 depending on the type of home. East of that is the University neighborhood, also called DU. That's where the University of Denver is. It's fine. I don't have a ton to say about it, to be honest. And then east of that is University Park, also known as Observatory Park. If you hear somebody talking about Observatory Park, that is this neighborhood. Very quiet, big, expensive houses. If you want a ton of space and you want to be in a South Denver neighborhood that's close to a lot, but pretty darn quiet in and of itself, that's Observatory Park. Okay, then we're going back across 25 to get down to Southeast Denver here. Okay, Holly Hills, this neighborhood right here, very small. It's technically not in Denver County, which makes it kind of an outlier, but Holly Hills is also another super underrated neighborhood. It's got a little bit of a South Denver Park Hill feel, North Park Hill feel, but prices are a touch more affordable there too. Kind of a gem, kind of a diamond in the rough. And then you have Hampton and Hampton South, okay? Hampton South, you don't hear a lot of people talk about Hampton or Hampton South. They do fly under the radar because they're all the way at the sort of southeast side of Denver. Residential, very walkable, big wide streets, close to a lot of creature comforts, Target, Chick-fil-A, those sorts of things. Whole Foods, there's a Whole Foods right there. Not as much character as these more central Denver neighborhoods. A lot of people confuse Hampton South with Southmore Park, but it is not. Southmore Park is across I-25. It's this neighborhood right here. It looks kind of funky, but Southmore Park, very stately, very expensive, very much a gated feel. It's kind of Cherry Hills light. Cherry Hills is just to the west. Southmore Park reminds me of Cherry Hills light. If you know anything about Cherry Hills, you know it's not a neighborhood, it's its own town, Cherry Hills Village, but it's got some of the most expensive real estate in all of Colorado. A lot of the Broncos live there. Russell Wilson lived there. Depending on when you're watching this, he probably already sold his house and is ruining another NFL franchise. Okay, but we are out of Denver now. We are in Cherry Hills Village. We are in Inglewood. So I need to loop back up along the west side, like I said I would. So where were we? We're in Rosedale and University and Platt Park. Okay, if we go across the river from those, we go to College View, Harvey Park South, Marlee, and Ruby Hill. These are still up and coming neighborhoods. Not a ton going on there. Ton of good Mexican food on Federal Boulevard, I will tell you that. But yeah, in Ruby Hill Park, there's a sledding hill there that every time it snows, a lot of people go sledding there. It's free. You have Harvey Park, which I do know is a popular neighborhood. Still more up and coming, more affordable, but it's got a lot going on for it too. Very residential. But I really want to come up north of 6th here and talk about these last few neighborhoods. Okay, so we have Jefferson Park, which is just to the south of the Highlands. Remember, we were talking about the Highlands. That is where Empower Field at Mile High is, aka Mile High, and that's where the Broncos play. Just to the west of that is Sloan's Lake. Sloan's Lake is another great Denver neighborhood, one of my favorite neighborhoods. Not really an unpopular opinion. It's a super, super popular place to live. Sloan's Lake Park is great, and Edgewater is just to the west of it. Edgewater, now we're technically outside of Denver, but it's an honorary neighborhood. It's a very, very small area. It's got Edgewater Public Market, but in the Sloan's Lake Edgewater area, there's a lot going on. Really strikes that balance between livable and still stuff to do. Just south of that, south of Colfax, is this West Colfax neighborhood, which is interesting to me. This is still up and coming. Prices are much lower in West Colfax than they will be in Sloan's Lake, just north of it. And it's not Sloan's Lake, it's not that yet, but kind of like I talked about Rosedale Platt Park, you're able to get that proximity to it without paying those prices. I don't ever recommend anyone live on Colfax Avenue, but West Colfax is a lot different from East Colfax. So the proximity to West Colfax in a lot of these little pockets to me doesn't bother me that much. Sloan's Lake has blown up in recent years, so the prices aren't great there either. But if you're someone who likes the Highlands vibes but wants a little more space, something a little more residential, Sloan's Lake is a great option. And then coming up to the north side, the northwest side too, we have Berkeley and Sunnyside. Sunnyside is Highlands Light. It's got a lot of the same benefits of the Highlands. Prices are going to be a little bit lower there, but still a great neighborhood. And then Berkeley. Berkeley's great because it's on the west side of town, and all these neighborhoods I should talk about on the west side of town. That is a benefit. That's the thing people love and why you pay a premium to be in some of these neighborhoods, because they are on the west side of town. What else is on the west side of town? The mountains. You're closer to the mountains over there. Whether it's real or perceived in terms of actual drive time, you are closer to the mountains, and that's why a lot of people move to Denver, is to be close to the mountains. So there's a premium there. Berkeley shares a lot of traits with some of these other West Denver neighborhoods. We're talking about Highlands and Sunnyside. But what really sets it apart is this Tennyson Street shopping district. Great spot. Plenty going on, but not too busy. Used to get my hair cut there. On a sunny day, walking down Tennyson, there's not much that's going to make you feel better. If you have questions or thoughts, please do weigh in. Like I said, I've done a number of these neighborhood tours individually where I actually go to the neighborhood, walk around, show you some of it. I'll link to one of those here afterwards. And I'll keep doing more of those because as the weather gets nicer, honestly, that's when I like to show these neighborhoods because that's when it's the most fun. So I'm going to do more of those this year. If there's any more of this you'd like to see, if there's any of these neighborhoods you'd like specifically delved into a little bit more where I haven't delved into them yet, let me know. Otherwise, as always, I love you for watching. You and I are friends. We'll talk soon.